All right, so I wasn't actually like gonna continue with accountability because I was thinking in my head like, oh yeah, 10 minutes is enough for Generation Z and like their attention span and blah blah blah. But I'm not just talking to Generation Z. I'm talking to everybody. So I want to just keep talking. And if people don't want to listen, they don't want to listen. It's fine. Like that's once again like there's a book you need to read. There's a test you need to study for. There's things you need to do in your life, like clean your room. I need to go brush my teeth. You know what I mean? There's everything that we need to do, and we put it off and say, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that because of this reason, that reason, this reason." But like, you gotta live your life for you because no one's gonna live it for you. Like I've realized like when I was 16, I was kicked out of my house. My brother, um, it was something that was systemic. Like I could see there was I think it was the third recession that it had hit my father, and he's in construction, so he got laid off. Like he's self-employed, so when I say he got laid off, I mean he just didn't get any work. So he was sitting in the house all the time, frustrated as hell. And he's seeing me and my brother just in the house, and he's like, you guys are, in my eyes, he went to work at like 13, 14, like properly, left school. He's like, you're 16, you're strong, you should be out of the house, you should be like paying for the house. So he just had enough, like got drunk and then just kicked us out of the house. So we wasn't exactly homeless. We went to live with friends, and then my brother went off to live with his friends, and I went off to live with my friends. And I was lucky. Like other people, are not lucky. They end up on the streets, and it plays them for the rest of their lives. But there's accountability where you say, okay, I gotta fix my own path. I gotta fix my own way. And at each point, I could have, and I probably did at some stage, because I'll be honest, like you blame your parents. You're like, man, what. But if you keep blaming, you don't ever pull yourself up. And that's what I'm saying about like seeing a therapist, or like working on yourself. But if you need help and you need support, you need that. Like there's no way around that. But like for myself, I started with the books, reading them. Like I'm such an avid like reader, because where I'm from, like if you read too much, you're like a geek or a nerd or like an idiot, which is a contradiction again, because if you read, you get more information, more knowledge. You're seeing the world for what it is from other people's points of views, but you're like gathering information, and eventually you're going to use it. But then I started living my life and going around living in the world, and I'll talk about like how I got into it later on. But I realized like also my belief system, the way I was thinking was not adding up. Like when I read the books, I was like, oh, these. And it wasn't like religious doctrine; it was like self-help books. I'd be like, oh, this doctor in psychology, or this philosopher, or this um, person in the biography. I used to read a lot of biographies. Be like, oh, this person chose this path, and or this novelist or this writer writes so well that I didn't even realize books were like enjoyable. When I was in school, books were like so goddamn boring, and you had to study them and then give your review when you're interested in it. And I was like, man, no, that's not me. That's not me. But when I realized like how good you know information can be, and it's the same for like YouTube. Like when you see all these videos, you're like, I don't know if you've done it, but I've done it, and I'm like, none of these videos are fulfilling. Like my brain is stupid afterwards. I feel more dumb after these videos, or I'm angry, or I'm like emotionally triggered, and I'm like, that's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to give you information. They're just trying to trigger you, and then you follow their belief systems. And I did eventually get into like Buddhism and Taoism, and I read the Quran as well. I was born Catholic or raised Catholic, or born, they say, because you get baptized. And there is, in religion, there is some good points. Like I can't defer from, but there's a lot of contradiction. So that's when it becomes hard to digest, and it's better to take bits and pieces of it. And as I said, the proof is in the pudding. Like go and see if this stuff works. So like meditation, which is very strong in Buddhism, even like yoga, because it's like stretching your body, breathing, calming yourself down. Like it can change the language, can change your thought process, can guide you. Even praying, like some people, they pray and you feel better afterwards. But what I can say is like, don't get righteous. Don't, some people I've noticed the more information they have, it's like the more they want to shove it down people's throats and they want to prove their point over other people's points. And I'm like, well, then you're completely contradicting like all of what you've learned, because each person is allowed to think how they want to think, and nothing's proven. Like you, until you die, you don't know what's on the other side of this existence, and everything's blind faith, like everything, unless it's like if I said, oh, like there's a ghost behind me, or like demons or spirits or whatever. Um, I'd say like right now, prove it, like make it happen. Like it isn't it's unseeable unless you do like DMT, ayahuasca, even LSD, mushrooms, psilocybin. The senses, we've got 5 senses in the physical, and around us or the nature, it's only perceptible through those lenses. That's the instruments we've got. Until the instruments get better, we can then see like for example, with time we've been able to see like um, how sound travels. Not see it, but we understand it travels in like little bubbles, or um, light, travels in like I guess waves, right? So, and I'm telling you, I'm like when I hear people saying like, oh, um, I see some people like talking all from books, like they don't have any experience, and they use such like elongated words, and they try to be sounding like they're so profound, so deep. I just think they sound so insecure to me because they've had the privilege of learning those things. I admire people that like some rappers that like their vernacular or their understanding of words and playing with the words and like telling a story or like creating rhythms or like just everything. I'm like, wow, that's like they had nothing. They just had a dictionary or like the cognitive listening, or like I've been studying Aborigine tribes, the First Nation of Australia, and like how these people were just living off the land without any resources. And I'm just like, wow, these people are amazing. I feel like Western society, or society as a whole, because it's the same in Asia, the more money, the more privileges, the more people become like spoiled babies, and they're not able to see. They're adults sometimes, and they're not able to see. They're not accountable. They're not able to see like how they're acting or how they're carrying out their lives. And for me, it's like when you got nothing, you appreciate more things. And I've seen it with my mom. I've seen it with like um, going like I've seen it in my own household. I've seen it in other cultures, and how they pull themselves together with everything because they got nothing, but they have family or they have like support. But I'm just saying that if you're going to become accountable and live your life, and you're going to lead by example, it is tough. It's the toughest challenge you're going to do, but the rewards are so good because money, being liked, society norms, all these things, they're going to like just wash off you. Like you're going to listen to people and be like, wow, the way you think and the way you are is dependent on such a fragile existence. And listening to these other people talking, that they sound like they got their shit together and they know what they're talking about, a lot of times they don't. And that's when you got to be so sharp, like the information you're taking now, because there is much more information, but it's not to be all trusted. And anyway, that's pretty much what I want to say on accountability for now.